How do relationships change after awakening, especially romantic relationships? As you awaken out of that past knowledge, which is so rigid and limited, which has been picked up, passed on from generation to generation, from society, from religion, as you realize what you are, you see that you are more fluid, not fixed. You see that there is a greater depth, a greater capacity to be more fluid, more flexible. You have many more qualities available to you. Because the human being is not just male or female, it is both male and female. Because you've got the mother's DNA within you and you've got the father's DNA within you. And also when we're talking about feminine energy and masculine energy, really we're talking about qualities that are not gender specific. For instance, feminine qualities like nurturing, understanding, compassion, emotional intelligence, or the masculine qualities like assertiveness, force, more physical strength, logic. These can exist in both men and women. And really, to become a complete being, you awaken those qualities. You have those qualities in balance. They are complementary. But for so long, people have kind of been taught to be just in one or other of the polarities. So that's been encouraged, and the idea that society has encouraged is that you must find completeness in another person. That's like the idea of marriage. You must become whole by attaching to another person. But of course, as you awaken, what starts to happen is you realize that that is false. You realize that you are already complete, that you have all those different qualities available. That you have both the masculine energy and the feminine energy. So you don't have to seek it outside. You don't have to seek it in another. So what changes is that you find an independence, not a dependence. Right? There's not a dependence on the opposite polarity to make you whole, because actually you already have that opposite polarity within you. But society was trying to get you to chase it, right? You marry each other and then you kind of get married to the state. So you're dependent upon each other, then you're dependent upon the state. But the state never taught you to find that completeness, that wholeness within yourself. The church never taught you to find that completeness, that wholeness within yourself. That way you become dependent, you see, on many things. So after awakening, you become self-sufficient because you find the source of what you really are, and you find that there is much more depth and there is much more capacity for all of these qualities. You've got the yin and you've got the yang. So you wake up out of that limited knowledge that says otherwise, and you go from a rigid, fixed state of this is who I am, this is what it means to be a man, and that's what it means to be a woman, and you start to see everything is more fluid, more flowing. And this, what it does, it opens you up to be able to be whatever you need to be when you need to be it. Which I would say is extremely powerful. You could say it's one of the greatest powers available. The ability to be what you need to be when you need to be it. That means that whatever is required in the moment, you are able to show up as what is best for that moment. Whereas when somebody's stuck in that rigid idea of who they think that they are, they limit themselves. They say, no, this is just who I am. And so it's like trying to get, a square peg in a round hole. Instead, you're able to become round. You're able to become square. You're able to become triangle. You're able to become whatever you need to be when you need to be it. You're fluid. You're like water. Water can become the cup. It can become any shape of container. Right? It can become so many things. It's so versatile. But through these rigid ideas, the old belief systems that's tied to that false sense of self that was learnt and passed on from generation to generation, you were existing in a more fixed, rigid state. That's where it seems most people still are to this very day. But as you awaken out of that dream, the dream of that false, rigid self, you see that what you are is just so much vaster, so much more flexible, so much more fluid. So as you see that within yourself, as you start to be more like that, you naturally see that then more in others. You see that in a partner. Instead of seeing the partner as being fixed and having to be a certain way, you also allow them the freedom to be whatever they need to be when they need to be it. If the woman needs to show more masculine qualities at certain times, you allow her to do so. If the man needs to show more feminine qualities at certain times, then he is allowed to do so. There's not these fixed roles. Nothing is being made wrong. And so that's that completeness. So rather than what the old relationships have been based on, which is two halves, two incomplete halves coming together to try and make a whole, which to many people can feel really good. It feels temporarily very good, and that's the key word there, temporarily. Because it's not true wholeness, it's just the semblance of wholeness. It's a mirage really, right? Underneath is actually incompleteness. In true completeness, as you awaken to that true completeness within, then if you encourage or find someone else that also has awakened to that completeness within, and you both come together, now it is two wholes coming together, and then that becomes like a kind of super relationship. A very conscious relationship. A relationship that is not based on need. It's choice. It's the ability to enjoy each other. You could say more deeply, it's based on a resonance. Wholeness resonates with wholeness. Incompleteness resonates with something else that's incomplete, that it is lacking. But when there is wholeness, there is a resonance to what else is wholeness, and then when you both come together, it is like a super relationship. And that kind of relationship, it's not based on control. You're not trying to control each other. You're not trying to change each other. There's just a kind of full acceptance, a full allowance. You give the other being freedom to be whatever they need to be when they need to be it. And there's a kind of mutual benefit. It's a win-win situation. So after awakening, relationships can vastly change, because you have awoken out of that old rigid limiting conditioning and you've come into a more fluid state of being, more whole, complete, with all those qualities available. And so naturally you start to see that in others, and a relationship can then really begin to blossom.